Hi everyone, welcome to OCD Live. I'm Greymond. So first of all, I would like to say that I'm sorry for the long delay, and honestly, I thought I could do it every single day, but between clients and then the rest of my life, it's very difficult to fit everything in because my clients are all around the world. So when somebody is asleep on one side of the world, somebody is awake on the other side, and I kind of split my time between different countries like this. So it becomes very difficult to be able to do a live stream every single day at the same time. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to do every Wednesday, again, same time between 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And as this live stream and the OCD Live generally grows, we'll add days as we need to. So as I start to get more questions and I can't fit it all in one time, I'm gonna add more days. But for now, I can't really do more than just one day a week. If I can, I'm gonna try. Please send me your questions to either info@youhaveocd.com or below this video or in the chat on the side of the video, and I'm gonna answer them as I get them. And make sure, please, to label clearly if it's a question about OCD or that you would like me to answer rather in private or on the show. And like I said before, I do encourage you to allow me to answer the question on the show. I'm going to keep all of your details private. I'm not going to say, the details of the question or your name, obviously, or anything like that. I'm just going to say enough just to make people understand what the question is about, but not give any kind of revealing details or anything like that. So don't worry about your privacy or anything like that, that everything remains very confidential. So, yeah, and I just honestly, I wanted to thank you guys for sending me emails. I really didn't think that many people were listening, and I got so many emails about, people worrying and, what happened and why aren't you answering and all of this, and not to the email, but to why aren't you doing the show. So anyways, I'm sorry and thank you, and I'm really gonna try to add more days, but for now we'll just keep it as just Wednesday, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's get to some questions. Okay, so the first question that I wanted to address is just basically about irrational fears and random situations around big events such as weddings or childbirths or anything like that. And see, what happens is your mind is right. If you already have OCD, which I'm assuming you do, your mind is already on high alert. Your mind is already been conditioned by you because you've been telling your mind that these thoughts are dangerous, these thoughts are important. So your mind has been conditioned to think that there's something wrong. And because of that, your mind keeps coming up with more and more thoughts. Now, when you have a big event happening in your life, happy event or sad event, doesn't really matter, when it comes to OCD, it's going to try to grab onto it because it thinks you're in danger and now something important is happening in your life. So of course it's going to attach itself to that something important. And the thought can be very kind of irrational and very silly, but it's still really very much gets to you. And I find almost a lot, not all the time, but a lot of the time, the silliest thoughts have this power to stick more to the person than the more kind of, could have happened type of thoughts. Because when the thought is very silly, it's like, that it's just not possible, but you still keep going over and over in your mind, and then the possibility of what if that 99 in 100 or 1 in 100 rather chance, 99% that it's not true situation, what if it is true, and that possibility starts to scare you, and you start to come up with ways how it could be true, and you start to get into this cycle. Because when you are at a big event in your life, everything kind of feels like it's like they do or die, like everything feels like it matters, and so much more than just in regular life. and you start to hyper focus on it, and OCD really can take hold. So the best way to handle these types of situations is if you know you are gonna be in a major situation in your life, prepare yourself for the fact that you're going to get OCD, because right now you're in transition of overcoming OCD. So prepare yourself that you might get an OCD thought. You don't have to pay attention to it. You don't have to make it important, and just being very much aware that these things can come up, but it's still up to you whether you pay attention to it or not. You know? And don't allow it to scare you. So say, for example, you say, okay, you're preparing for a wedding, right? And you kind of have to almost tell yourself that I know I'm going to get an OCD thought. I'm going to choose not to pay attention to it. I'm going to move on. The same thing goes for events such as holidays, because I know that around holidays, you always kind of feel worse. Well, I did anyways, and a lot of my clients do, because it's like you're asked to, feel good in this particular moment. It's like somebody snaps their fingers at you and says, okay, you have to feel good right now. It's a holiday. You have to feel good. Or it's a big, nice, important event in your life. You have to feel good. And when you don't feel good day to day, that pressure to feel good in a specific day only makes it worse. So I find that the better way to handle it is to say, you know what? I am going to get thoughts. I might not feel good, but I'm going to make the best out of it, and I'm going to try my best not to take it seriously. And that way your result is going to be a lot more productive, because you're taking the pressure off of yourself. So I do find that that would really help the situation. And again, not taking the situation seriously, not once the thought comes in, refusing to analyze, refocusing on real life, saying, you know what, OCD, you're not going to ruin this for me. I'm going to go on as if I never got this thought, as if this thought is not true. I'm just going to power through it, and just going along like that. Okay, so the next question I have, are false memories just something we create? And after recovery, do we realize the memories and doubts are fake, or will they always stay unsolved? So yeah, the false memories are just something you create, and you can create it based on just sheer imagination, or seeing something on TV and adding imagination to it, or taking parts of, say for example, you drive all the time, okay? And this time you drove and you hit a curb and you think you hit a person. Well, you remember how you feel when you drive all the time, like how the car feels, and you start to add the false memory of, say, well, what if, like, when you hit the curb, what if it jumped slightly more, and what if it was a person or something like that? So it starts to attach fake stuff to real stuff, Or, for example, if you are worried about, for example, like HIV, and you're afraid of, like, because I was, right, when I had OCD, and you're afraid of, like, blood and all of this, every red spot you see, you will automatically think it's blood, because your mind is hyper-focused on it. So, and then with false memory, you will think, well, was that blood? I don't remember, and then I can't check, and you start to really kind of worry about it, because you're analyzing. So you do create them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. How you create them could depend on many things, but they are all part of the imagination. And then the second part of the question is, after recovery, do we realize the memories and doubts are fake, or will they always stay unsolved? Yes, not even after the recovery, after the specific recovery from this particular thought, you will start to realize that the memories that they're not memories. But, it's a lot easier, the recovery is a lot easier if you don't let it get that far. Having a false memory situation last for a day is not the same thing as having a false memory situation last for a year or years. Now, in both cases, you can recover, so it's never like a lost cause. But you just have to make sure that, as much as you possibly can, that you take it seriously in the way that you take your disorder seriously. That you are focused on recovery, you are not paying attention to the thoughts, no matter how real they seem. And I already went over this with the false memory in the previous show, that the feelings that come along with the false memory OCD are just as fake as the false memory itself. Because the brain thinks it's real, so it's sending you feelings as if it's real, but the whole thing is false. So not paying attention to it, moving on from it, shielding yourself from the anxiety by refusing. So yeah, if you think of OCD as your opponent, you have to be stronger than that opponent. You have to stand up to it and say, no more, I'm not dealing with it, I'm moving on, I'm choosing not to react. And it's so important, to do that and to just be able to propel yourself forward and become above the OCD by just refusing. It's not gonna go, like, it's like what we talked about with the analogy of the balls being thrown to you. They're thrown to you, that's automatic. The feelings are thrown along with those balls, but you don't have to catch any of it. When you're paying attention to OCD, you're catching it, you're running with it, you're fully engaged. You don't have to be. And you know that you've had similar thoughts or other types of OCD thoughts before, and none of them came true. And I can tell you that I talk to people every day, including weekends, and it never came true for anybody. And everybody has, there's only a few themes of OCD, I find, but everybody has, kind of different thoughts, but at the same time, they're within the same theme usually, or same themes. And not, they repeat frequently that I have, different people who come and they have very similar worries, but not once for any of them has it come true. So you're not that, first special person for whom it's going to come true. But if you take it seriously, your OCD is going to become a big problem. And just like, I don't know if I did a show last time or not, I don't remember what show, the questions we picked up. Just sorry, I've just been really, really busy. But, OCD can take a lot more away from you than just the disorder of having OCD can take a lot more away from you than most of your fears would. Because every day you are not really living a full life when you're allowing OCD to basically live the life for you, So you just have to be very, very conscious of how you handle these thoughts, and it's really one day at a time, My OCD personally was really, really bad. I'm not sure how you guys feel about me getting over OCD, but sometimes I feel like people think that, well, maybe her OCD was mild and maybe she just got over it, when people just start to get over OCD. Because honestly, most people who start to get over OCD, they don't think they can really recover. And I always tell people when I start working with a client that I'm like, I know you don't believe you're going to recover, but you will recover. And we're going to talk in a month, you will see progress. And in 2 months, you're going to see even more progress. And then once you recover, you'll tell me that, oh, I didn't know. And always it happens. Very few, very rare exceptions. And I don't know if it's just my program or, I kind of, because I've been through it, I can help better than, but I mean, I get contacted by doctors, by hospitals, asking how I'm doing it because, they're shocked that their clients are feeling better, and this happens on a regular basis for me, that they'll call me and say, well, how are you doing this? How are they getting better? Because, I mean, they are, and that's the thing is and all we're doing is we're really pushing through, and I'm providing the support for them, but they are pushing through the thoughts and doing the things that they didn't want to do before with my support. So if they were afraid to go to a certain place or do a certain thing, they're in my program, they're going to have to do them, not right away. And we really make sure that you can do it kind of as a process where at first you do very little, then, as you're able to continue and build upon your success, so the next thing doesn't seem so big anymore because you've done the previous thing. So there is a little bit of a time element involved, but I'm always being very cautious of time and making sure that we're recovering as fast as possible, because honestly it irritates me to no end when I hear when people come in, or not come in, but when I start talking to them, I usually talk to them on Skype or on the phone. And when I start talking to them and they're saying to me, well, I've been with my therapist for 6 months, or I've been with my therapist for a year or years. Well, what is your therapist doing that you've been with them that long and you're still having OCD? Honestly, like, why are you, I mean, I don't want to kind of, step on anybody's toes, but why are you seeing these people if in, 6 months or a year they haven't been able to help you? I mean, there's rare cases where the situation happens that the client does need that long, but usually, I mean, in 2 months, people are so much better than they're either fully recovered or they can continue on their own. There's no reason to drag this out, because it's money, it's time, it's suffering. And I find it immoral that if the therapists are realizing that and are basically like keeping the client ill to make more money, or I don't understand. Anyways, as somebody who had OCD, I swear I'm not gonna go over the doctor situation again because it's gonna be a whole other show, but it just makes my blood boil when I hear this kind of stuff happening, and it's like, and they're shocked. They're like, well, why are they getting better? I'm like, I don't know. Should I apologize? Should they be getting worse? Is that what you want? Like, why are you calling me? Why are you asking me these questions? I don't know. Anyways, as usual, I have gone way off topic. So let's get back to the topic at hand, okay? So next question is, how can I cope with feeling like a liar? I get thoughts like, what if I'm pretending it's OCD? It feels impossible to live with uncertainty. So, okay, everybody feels like a liar when they start to get over OCD. Everybody feels like a fraud, and the reason why you feel like that, and again, we're going back to the feelings, is you're feeling like that specifically because your mind is convinced that that this is a real issue, that it's not OCD. It's not even it's convinced that it's not OCD. It doesn't understand what OCD is. It's a basic mechanism that if you're scared about something, it's going to send you more thoughts on that topic to protect, so you can protect yourself. Because your mind can't physically protect you. It can send you thoughts so you physically protect you. It doesn't have arms. You have the arms, right? So, or, emotion and all of that, right? So, it's sending you the signals to protect yourself. And it can send it to you in anxiety, in feelings, in everything possible to get you to react. And that's the point. So, of course, when you're going against the grain, when, you say like for 6 months you've been teaching your mind that this particular situation, no matter what it is dangerous. And then all of a sudden you're saying, oh, never mind, it's not dangerous, I'm going to go for it. Your mind is going to send you all kinds of feelings as you're going through it. And you're not going to feel like, a lot of the times, like, people will go to an event or something like that and they feel like a liar being at that event because they don't feel like everybody else. And I felt like that too. But you just have to keep on going. And I'm telling you, everybody I talk to feels like that. Every party feels like they're being kind of not their authentic self. Every kind of, even like things like, just like regular life stuff will feel like that. But I promise you, this feeling, it happens to everybody. I hear all the time, and it goes away for everybody the more you practice it. But if you don't practice it and you avoid, it's going to get worse. Because if you avoid it, it's like you're saying to your mind, well, this is more important, or this is very important to avoid, this is very dangerous, I'm going to protect myself by refusing to go. And that just makes the situation worse because you're making it a big deal. And that's how OCD starts, is you make something a big deal. So when you feel like a liar, it's fine as long as you are going through it. View it as an exposure situation where we have the exposure of you going to a place, feeling like a liar, and at the same time keeping the thoughts going and not viewing them, not analyzing them, allowing them, like we were talking about before, right? Flowing from one ear into the other, in and out of your head. That's how people who don't have OCD operate. It's not that they don't have thoughts, it's just that they let them flow in one ear, out the other, not stopping them in the middle. And people with OCD, we tend to stop them. And then you have to learn how to not do that. So So, and the other part of the questions that the person says, I get thoughts like, what if I'm pretending it's OCD? And that it's impossible to live with the uncertainty. That is also a very common thought. And the uncertainty will go away once you start to focus on not paying attention to these thoughts. Because the uncertainty is just a feeling, and again, feeling sent by the brain trying to protect you. Auto sent by the brain has nothing to do with you. Auto sent by the brain for you to protect yourself. You're not gonna, it's like, when okay, for example, like right before 2012, some people got really obsessed with the 2012 situation, and they started to really, get worried about it and like collect food and all of this kind of stuff. And it became an issue in their mind. So the mind started to send them more thoughts, and they started to collect even more food. And it, for many people, it got out of control. And that's the thing, is that the more you pay attention to it, the more similar thoughts, fears, and urges to protect yourself your brain will send. So you're not, it is OCD. It's not that you're pretending it's OCD. It is OCD. And I don't want to give you reassurance, but it is OCD. You just have to make sure that you are putting OCD in its place and saying that I am what matters. My thoughts, my real thoughts is what matters. And all this OCD stuff is just in my way of my life. So I'm not going to pay attention to it anymore. And as soon as, okay, think of OCD thoughts as a ball, or like as a ball hanging by a thread. Okay? You cut that thread, the ball will fall down. It has nothing it has nothing else to hold on to by than the fear. And you refuse to pay attention to that fear, it's gonna fall down. It's not gonna it has nothing else to hold on to you by. So the brain will, and then as you keep cutting that thread, every time the thought comes in, your brain will stop, hanging the ball back up, so to speak. It's going to understand that, okay, maybe there's nothing here. And just again, like I gave the example of the people who got worried about the 2012. So 2012 came, it passed, whatever that day, whatever it was, it passed, and nothing happened. And then it's not like the day after they started to feel better. It took them a while, because it took the brain a while to realize that, okay, everything is fine, and they probably felt uncomfortable for the few days or few months, depending on their level of worry afterwards, but then it slowly faded away. And this is going to happen the same way for you, but you have to emotionally let go. That is the biggest thing with OCDs, letting go emotionally. And, all it is repetition. So every day trying to do that. It doesn't matter if you're super successful or if you're somewhat successful at it, as long as you keep going and trying. And if you didn't do great today, if you ended up doing compulsions or reassurance, it's not good, but it's fine. Well, let's pick it up again tomorrow. Let's try again tomorrow, or let's try again. And it's not even waiting for tomorrow, it's right now. Change your situation right now. If up to this moment you were paying attention to the thought, from this moment on, no more. Because if you're kind of wait till later, you're allowing those extra hours to build up to, to bring more OCD later. So the sooner that you can stop yourself, the better, really, with it. And that means stopping analyzing, because I find that analyzing especially is a very strong thing to break when it comes to OCD. So not analyzing, allowing yourself to live your life. I always hear people say, well, I can't do this because of OCD, I can't live my life because of OCD. OCD does take your life away, but if you pretend that you got over OCD already, so don't wait till later. Right now, pretend that you're already over OCD, you're already fine. What do you want to do? And write those things down. What is it that you want to do? Say, for example, today, if you didn't have OCD, what would you do today? Write them down. I'm serious. Like, don't just listen to me, saying this. Actually, write them down on your phone or on a piece of paper or whatever. Say 5 things and just do them. You might not feel good, you might not feel great, but you are going to do them. And then tomorrow you're going to grow from that, and OCD is going to diminish because of that. Not fully, but it's going to be less than it was today, and you're going to get more power than you have today. So, and switching, doing that power shift until OCD is very, very small, so you can just squish it so it's fully gone. Not waiting for later, but just focusing on the now, staying in the now, and at the same time um, being fully present and doing everything you want in the now. Because you can do this. And I'm telling you that somebody who has had severe OCD, and I have had very severe OCD, I kind of actually forgot to finish that part when I was talking before. But um, my OCD got really, really bad at one point. And actually, specifically, going back to the question about that somebody asked about the special events, when me and my husband, when we got our first house, my OCD was through the roof bad. Like, we got the house, but I could barely leave that house. I couldn't leave the house, a major part of it, so, because I was so scared. So, don't think that I'm talking without, personal knowledge or anything like that. And I'm not the most strongest willed person. But if I can do this, then you definitely can do this. Honestly, I'm not trying to tell you something that's not true, or trying to kind of keep you. I mean, I'm trying to keep you motivated, but not motivated by false assumptions. It really is possible to recover. And I hear it from all my clients that, oh, I never thought I'd get this good. I never thought I could do this. I never thought I could, get to this stage. I never thought I could recover. When they recover, I get these letters all the time, and everybody keeps telling me, you got to put some testimonials up, and I will do that. I don't know, no time for anything. But I mean, I hear that all the time, that people say that it's just, it's gone. I feel, and the only thing though that I can tell you is that when OCD goes away, you only appreciate it for a little while. And this is kind of like a little bit of a letdown, but it's most of the time it's true, because you get used to a very good thing really quickly. So I find that people, especially when they wake up in the morning and they don't have a thought, at first they're like, oh my God, I woke up and I feel good and I don't have any thoughts, OCD thoughts, and I feel just fine, and this is so amazing. So a few days go by or a week goes by and they're like, oh, I woke up, gotta go to work again, so it loses its luster very, very quickly, and you start to kind of just get back to just regular life, But the one good thing about OCD that I can tell you is that once you get over OCD, any intrusive thought, even if it's like a real intrusive thought that, like, I don't know, worrying about, say, finances or health or anything like that, anytime you get these thoughts, you are going to be able to choose whether you want to pay attention to them or not, and you're going to be able to move on from them if you choose not to pay attention to them. So it really helps to keep only the thoughts you want in your life. You're going to be in full control of your mind. So it's really going to help you in the long term. Like right now, I got over it, and I can tell you that it really does help, in the rest of your life, to be able to control. Because I see people who've never had OCD, but they can't control their thoughts. So they're not obsessively worried about a specific subject, but they're worried generally all the time about different things. So it's just unproductive. Anyways, that was the end of the show, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. And if you have any more questions, you can email me privately at info@youhaveocd.com. If you would like me to mention your question on the show, tell me. If you don't tell me, I'm not going to mention it, because I don't want to take the chance and saying something wrong. If you would like to have private sessions with me, you can do so at youhaveocd.com, and that's the full recovery program. And it's split into 3 parts. You will be able to see it on there. The first part is just a one-time session. Not parts, but the 3 different programs. That the first program is just the 1 session. The second program is 4 sessions, so once a week for a month. And that's good for a moderate OCD. And if you have a very severe OCD, I do suggest the severe package, which is, we'll talk as much as we need to talk to get you to recover. and that could be every day or every other day or whatever it is that you need. I'll make time, and as long as you're willing to work hard, because I can guarantee you recovery if you can guarantee me that you're going to do everything I say and work hard. Also, actually, on the website, there is books available. There's also some free information. And please don't feel shy about emailing me. I always reply my emails, maybe not right that second, but I always reply. And I'm here. I've been through it, so I'm really here to help. So thank you guys for listening again. And I'm sorry if I worried anybody. And we will build up from this, but right now we'll just keep it to Wednesday and go from there. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time.